so on and so forth. And now it's the next iteration of our flagship. Okay, so to begin with, I will do a comparison, very easy, okay? I'll play the same track on the statement first, and then I'll move to the Nazare, and we play the same track. So it's a very simple kind of a way to basically to show you, okay, are all the streamers are the same? So I think a lot of you will have a question, okay, why should I spend so much money on a dedicated streamer? Does it make any difference to start with? And then second question would be how big the difference should be, okay? So bear in mind, here is already a very, very good streamer. It's about 20K here, I mean in euro. So it's not like just a normal streamer. And then we will use this as a baseline. And then we move to the Nazare to see, is there a difference or how big the difference is, okay? Okay, I'll cut it here. Every time I play about a minute and then switch. Why? Because actually human memory, auditive kind of memory is very, very short. And you can't really remember like hours of auditive kind of information. And some study shows even sometimes only like 3-4 seconds. So I need to switch quite rapidly. I hope you found the difference, heard the difference, and so on and so forth. So it's in my opinion, it's not a small difference. It's a huge difference. And a lot of people say, yeah, bits are bits, or streamers are alike, and why are you wasting your money on a streamer? Sorry to bear the bad news to these guys. So, okay, so now you heard the difference. I'll try to explain a little bit in my own words, like what you just heard, the difference. In our kind of a comparison, I did this many, many times in many, many different systems. So I think there are three very big differences between them. So the first and the most important thing, I think it's quite surprising, is the spectrum. So actually with Nazare, you have a much deeper and bigger bass, and also more refined and detailed bass, which is really surprising. And you think, okay, change from one streamer to another one, you shouldn't affect too much about like spectrum. How that's possible? Actually, yeah, sorry, it's again the reality. And because of that, the second biggest difference is the sound stage and the imaging. And if you play around hi-fi for long enough, you will know actually, if you have a very detailed and the deep bass, and it needs to be very correct bass, normally you get a bigger soundstage, and all the imaging should be more kind of precise and stable, and so on and so forth. The third difference, I would say, would be all the background kind of noise and speed. And actually between them and Nazare should show a much darker kind of background. So it feels like all music pop more. And also the attack is faster. And then it gives you a more realistic kind of a feeling of the music. So that's in my own words to describe what the difference you have. You can have your own perceptions and your own kind of understanding. So, okay, now you understand the difference. I'll try to explain what we have done. Actually, the whole project of the Nazare R&D started way back 6-7 years ago. Actually, at the same time when we launched the statement, we already started the next generation. It took us a very long time to do it, and I'll show you why. I'll show something on the screen, so over there. And so the whole aim of Nazare is we're trying to make the best streaming system in the world. And to bear in mind, I always use this analogy. It's when CD first launched in 1978, right? The first CD, to be honest, sounds quite terrible, right? And it took CD almost, I think, at least 10, 12 years to reach kind of maturity. So in the early 90s, you really get a lot of crazy CD system and very, very high quality and so on and so forth. So I think to make the comparison, streaming is also very young we're still at the infant stage of streaming technology. So I think there are still a lot to do. That's what we're focused on, and we're aiming at the best. And in our opinion, our understanding, a very good, the best streaming system should be an experience combine both hardware and software. I have to emphasize on the software side. A lot of people thinking, oh, hi-fi is all about gear. Not only. And software really accounts for, in our opinion, more than 50%, even the sound quality. And a lot of the settings and the software kind of tweaks we can do with our system, it's massive. And another thing is, it's a little bit like Apple, right? When you use an iPhone, it's not only the iPhone you're using the iOS. The combination of both is the Apple experience. And we're trying to do the same. We control the hardware and the software, okay? So the second, I think, even more important is if we're not audiophile, we don't care about sound quality, why should you? No one should spend that amount of money on basically a computer, right? So it's all about sound quality. If the sound quality cannot deliver, it doesn't make any sense. And the third thing is obviously the ease of use and flexibility. And we spend a lot of money into developing our software to make it very user-friendly, easy to use, at the same time powerful with a lot of features. For example, recently we launched a feature called the Smart Cue. It's basically quite similar to the Roon radio feature, meaning when you have a track to the end of your queue, the system will calculate and try to give you more suggestions, and the music just will continue to flow, and you don't have to do anything. So it's a new feature we're adding, and next kind of software update, we're going to add classical mode. So all the classical music will be organized in a way makes more sense to the classical music lover, and then so on and so forth. So it's a continuous work of the software. Okay, so okay, I'll continue the explanation of the system. So you see there, we're only using one device here, right? But on the poster, you can see we have 3 pieces. So I'll explain a little bit what are these different pieces. So the first one is the Nazare main unit. Basically, it's an all-in-one kind of a design. You don't need anything else. It has the Ethernet input and the USB output. So basically, all you need is this, and to connect to it. It's a transport. It doesn't have the DAC module, so you do need a DAC, but with it, you can just connect to a DAC. You don't really actually necessarily need the other 2 units. But what are they? The second unit is called the Nazare Flow. So basically, it's a reclocker. So it will receive data from the server, from USB, and then applying a more precise clock, and to reclock the signal, and then send to the DAC. So it has a USB output as standard, and also it has more modules. So we work with MSB to provide the Pro SL, kind of a special protocol, and we work with CH Precision to provide the CH Link, and we're working with DCS and the EM Labs and so on and so forth. So a lot of the high-end DAC brands, they use their own protocol to ensure the precision of their transmission. So we work with them to apply these protocols into special modules dedicated for them. So that's the second unit. The third unit is called Nazare Net. So basically it's a switch, and it offers another layer of filtering and reclocking through the Ethernet input. So in it, we did also crazy stuff and to filter further. And a lot of people ask us, why you need a dedicated switch? So in my opinion, 2 things, basically. The first is grounding. So from the Ethernet input, it's very difficult to cut off the grounding from your router, from your noisy network kind of components. And using a dedicated switch can do that. And we concentrate a lot of efforts doing that. So first is grounding. The second will be noise filtering. So again, we do a lot of efforts to filter as much as possible the noise, electric noise from the Ethernet network. So yeah, that's there you have it. So yeah, that's about the music, and I'll continue to explain a little bit about the Nazare. So I talk about the different devices, what they do, and then now let's focus on the first one, the one we're having here. So again, you probably noticed it's quite humongous in terms of size and weight and everything. And why is that? And actually we use quite exaggerated kind of way of building it. We have 2 times 400 VA toroidals inside. In total for 800. So actually it's bigger than most of the amplifiers you can find in the market. And then all the capacitors you can see over there, they are in total 777,000, sorry. MUFA in total. It's quite a lot. It's really bigger than most of the amplifier you can find. So that's the main kind of a part and the main weight. So I'm talking about this part as power supply, and here the toroidals and the chokes and so on and so forth. And then this part is the computing part. Actually, we use quite similar computing boards like in our next gen, so Zenith or Zen next gen. And we tweak it a little bit different. And in the case of Nazare, we use the i9 as the CPU. Why we use this high? Not because of the performance and so on and so forth. So we want multiple cores. So when you have multiple cores, you can kind of separate your different tasks into dedicated cores, like, okay, you only do this, you only do that, and then so on and so forth. In this way, dramatically, we bring down the latency of the system and bring down noise and so on and so forth. So that's about the computing side. And then the one in the middle is also our secret source. We develop these precise USB, precise net card. So why we do that? Okay, so the Ethernet input will go through a PCI adapter and then go directly to the CPU, going around all the chipset from the board. No kind of loss, and again, we bring down the latency and so on and so forth. When it output through USB, we do the same. Direct access from the CPU, PCIe, then USB, direct out. And we did all these boards ourselves. Everything you see inside, it's in-house. We didn't rely on someone else, unless like the computing boards, obviously we work with our supplier, but it's our own design and it's our own board and only for Innuos. So yeah, that's the inside. Okay, the last page I kind of prepared for this presentation is about our product line. So a lot of my presentation, everybody say, wow, I love it, it's great, fantastic, but it's a 40,000 euro piece. And I went, maybe not really for me. So obviously we have a range of products. So below the Nazare, next in line is called the Next Gen series. So we have the Zen and Zenith Next Gen. They are at 10 and the 15,000 euro, already much more accessible. And then we have still the Stream series. So Stream series has the Stream 1 and the Stream 3. So Stream 1 at 2,250 and the Stream 3 at the 5,800. So you can see, so from 2,000 and to 40,000, we cover a huge range, depending on the system, the demand, the requirements, and how far you're willing to go. We have a solution for you. And they all share the same kind of design principles, like I explained. So the power supply, very, very important. The internal kind of design, mechanical design, vibration control, very, very important. Dedicated board, dedicated kind of electric components, very, very important. We, at all levels, we use the same thing. It's just at 2,000, maybe we're not allowed to use the so hard, high-end kind of components. Yeah, that's everything, and I think it's quite appropriate to end the presentation with a Japanese song on the Japanese speaker, so I think it's a tribute to TAD. Okay, so now, question. So please grill me. with all your difficult questions and whys and what and whatever. So let me show you. In system mode, we still have all the system different modes. So you can use our own software. Sorry, I'll make it easier for you. And so you can use our own software called the Innuos standalone system. So what the software you're seeing here, it's called Sense. You can use this. And you can use also Roon as a Roon core or Roon bridge. So depending on how you want to use. And our kind of standing over there is you can definitely use Roon, but Roon is not a software we can optimize for sound quality, unfortunately, because they are not our own software. And we did try, we have a mode called Roon with Innuos Player. So basically what we're doing is you're using the Roon interface, but all the audio engine we're trying to combine with our own software. So it should be a good compromise. Still not as good as Sense, but somewhere in the middle. So we don't have any preference, or we try to advocate for Roon or advocate against. No, nothing like that. Really, like the Nirvana song, "Come as You Are," right? So if you prefer Roon, please, by all means, use Roon. If you prefer Sense because of sound quality and simplicity and so on and so forth, by all means, use Sense. So that's why we offer both. By the way, we offer one more as a bonus. So one more is the HQ player. So we have some people really into upsampling and then do these things. So you can turn Innuos device as an NAA, so basically endpoint and HQ player kind of setup, and then you can use a HQ player server to play to it, to our device. So this is also a possibility. Again, we don't have a standing. We offer all the possibility, and you decide. Right?
Last question.
Yeah,
please. Internal storage?
Internal storage, yes. So you have 2 slots on the bottom. So custom accessible. So you can add in your own SSD. So it's an M.2 NVMe kind of a standard. So the maximum storage at the moment is 16 terabyte. Because one stick is maximum 8. So 2, 16. You say something like that as a musician. And I have some audiophile who got like 100 terabyte, like with humongous amount of music or store. Like we do see a noticeable difference. I'm not saying a huge difference. So when you stream music or you play local, even the file, the source, the mastering, everything is the same. We still see the benefit of playing local. You can still tell it, but it's not a huge difference. That's the reason why I'm kind of streaming here, not playing local files. Any other questions? It's both. So if we can do everything software, then I wouldn't bother to make a new machine. But if we can only achieve through hardware, it will be too simple. I hope so, but it's not the case. It's really a combination of both. And actually, the software, the internal software, actually, when we talk about software, there are 3 layers, and oftentimes we don't know what we're talking about. So the lowest level is called the BIOS and all the drivers. Basically, they're an interface from the operating system to interact with your hardware. So they are the middleman. So normally people don't really interact with this layer, and this layer normally you access by BIOS or this kind of thing. So BIOS setting. So as a manufacturer, we have direct access to the BIOS software, and we do our own kind of BIOS software, which is, I mean, normal people cannot do that. It's impossible. So we work with our manufacturer to develop so starting from hardware already, hardware is dedicated, customized, and so on and so forth. And the BIOS is customized. And then the second layer will be the software. The Linux we're using, as everyone else, Linux-based kind of a system. But we chop everything we don't want, we optimize, we do optimize the kernel, the audio engine, and so on and so forth. It's a lot of work, actually. So like the Android, right? So everybody has the same thing, but every device is slightly different, and we have our own spinning of that. And then the last piece is the application level, what you see on your phone, on your tablet, and so on and so forth. So all three layers really matters. And inside a Nazare, the BIOS, the operating system, like the application level, they are slightly different from, for example, the statement. The tweaking and everything, it's different. Yeah, they are the same, but they are not. See, so when you ask me, okay, how much due to the software, how much due to the hardware? So our official kind of answer is more than half, in our opinion, due to the software kind of a tuning. I give you several information. So the last hardware product we dropped kind of support was the Mark II. So that was launched in 2015. We dropped that last year, so about 10 years. So we support 10 years of continuous software kind of updates until we kind of, everything inside a Nazare or any products, we use industrial grade. So the SSD and RAM, they are industrial grade. Why? So it can be kind of can withstand much brutal kind of a handle. So you can power off and rank the power like this. It won't hurt it. It will have its own protection and so on and so forth. So we're all into longevity. And in Europe, we're by law kind of it's our obligation to insure at least 10 years of parts. Meaning in Europe, you have to insure that. And once you stop production, you still have to insure another 10 years of parts. So this is second information. The third information is actually we offer about 2 years, so factory warranty, and it will, in reality, a lot of our products are running still, like the Mark II. They are more than 10 years still running in the market, and it's a mechanical hard drive. And it can fail more easily than these guys, okay? So about upgrade, you can see, so we launched the Mark II in 2015. The Mark III was 2018. So it's about 3 years. So at the entry level, we have a much more frequent kind of, because it's entry level, you have to keep update. And with Nazare, inside it's already an i9. And we foresee at least 4 or 5 years of there shouldn't be any issue. So if you run our own software, you can see on Mark II, Mark III, or there's no speed kind of a difference. We optimize really a lot. If you use Roon, unfortunately, it will have a gap because it's a very old hardware, and you will feel the difference. And we think this device, if you're using our own software, it can guarantee at least 10 years of continuous software update, and it will keep working, no problem whatsoever. Then it's the same, applies also to next gen and the other products. Yeah, I hope I